Okay, we are building some positive momentum. So one of your daily rituals is to be writing your goals. You may notice that those goals are shifting. They may be becoming more specific. Certain goals you may recognize they're not true heart's desires. They were maybe coming from scarcity, or you had this false idea that you needed a certain material possession or a certain achievement in order to feel good enough or successful or whatever. And as you are really tuning into your true heart's desires, those things begin to fall away. There may be new additions. There may be certain goals that have already manifested. The power here is really quite astounding. There are many people, myself included, who have desires that have been unrealized, not because we can't have them and not because we shouldn't have them. As a matter of fact, if we're honest with ourselves, the lack of experiencing those things makes us feel bad. We're not happy, we're not expansive, we're not kind, we're really operating in a lot of negative emotions, and we're not being a very loving, generous version of ourselves by withholding those desires from ourselves. Now, why is it that simply writing down our goals and getting ourselves really tuned in to the truth of that desire, the clarity of that desire, and setting forth that powerful intention and proclaiming, I recognize that this is a divine desire within me. What is it about that that can create such a sometimes rapid shift? So how have you been perceiving that goal, that desire, prior to this exercise? Have you been repressing it? Have you been avoiding the intensity of the desire? Have you been allowing your old fear-based or false limiting beliefs to cause you to sort of put a lid on those desires? And so on the one hand, you know it's there and you say that you want it, but there is something also going on within you that is contradicting that desire. Well, now we are saying goodbye, contradictions. I am stepping fully and completely into acknowledging these beautiful divine desires that I have within me. And that in and of itself is a powerful mindset shift, and it's a powerful way to shift your energy. Sometimes we get clear on a desire and we may recognize that there are still some resistance, there's still some fear, there's still some of that nagging, pulling, doubtful energy. Remember, use the resources in the Mindset Vault. These tools are going to help you to clean that stuff up, okay? Many of these things are deep programs. That does not mean that through the power of your awareness of them and tools to help you to take the negative emotional charge off of those things, to release them, to reframe, to reprogram your mind, you can and will shift those things. You'll overcome those things. You will step into this more empowered version of yourself with more empowering beliefs, cleaner energy, more aligned with your truest heart's desires. Now we're going to get into the next phase of this process. The prosperity circle is really about techniques, which in some cases I've referred to as rituals or routines. That is writing of our affirmations. And now this next step is visualization. These are habits that we want to adopt, embrace. These are incredibly powerful habits used by some of the most successful people on this planet. Let me give you an example in case you don't believe me, okay? So, of course, we know that there are authors who have talked about these things, like Napoleon Hill. We know that there are many channels who channel divine information that is congruent with these things in our modern times and certainly in our human history. I recall several years ago when I was going through some trainings by Grant Cardone. He has a little book, and he talks about this in his book, but he also talks about this in some of his paid programs. He is an advocate for writing down your goals. He does it religiously and he swears by it. Now, when I first started following Grant, he was already a multimillionaire and his goal was to be a billionaire. And he achieved that within a very short period of time. Now, you don't have to have a goal of being a billionaire. I think my point is clear. The power of these exercises is tested. It's tried and it's true. Now, there are a couple of different psychological principles at work here. One is, what are you focusing on? Because we oftentimes will be focusing on our problem, thinking that we're focusing on the solution. Let me clarify this. When you're thinking to yourself, I need more money, I've got these bills that need to be paid, I don't have enough money, you might make the mistake of thinking that you're focusing on more money. When we really look at that objectively, you begin to recognize that what you were actually focusing on was the lack of money. By writing down our goals and doing daily visualization exercises, we are taking control of our mind and we are deliberately, intentionally putting our focus on what we want instead of what we don't want. And the more we do this, the more we program our mind to be focused on what we want instead of what we don't want. From a law of attraction based perspective, what you're focusing on is the more energy that you're putting into something. We know that thoughts create. We know that consistent thoughts create. We know that consistent thoughts with emotion create. So let's break this down, okay? When you have clarified your goals, you start to resonate with this idea of them being your reality. It's going to feel good. Remember, I've said this is about feeling good. We want to feel good. The better we feel, the more likely we are to continue a practice. The better we feel from a law-based perspective, the better the feelings of our manifestations. So this powerful exercise is working on a lot of different levels. It is working obviously on the subconscious level because with repetition, we program the mind. It is working on the conscious level, helping us to challenge and release and let go of old beliefs that do not serve us. It helps us to stay more focused on the right things. It is helping us in terms of these law-based principles. If we're looking at the law of vibration and the law of attraction, we begin to recognize that the more time we spend in vibrational resonance with what we desire, the faster that can manifest for us. So now, let's get into visualization. Perhaps you have not thought of yourself as a very visual person. Many years ago, when I had my general hypnotherapy practice, people would frequently say to me, I cannot visualize. And so a workaround would be to say something like, well, then imagine or pretend or just simply intend. Now, here's the reality. We all visualize. We just have different experiences of visualization. I like to say, if you worry about anything at all, or you ever have worried about anything at all, then you're visualizing what you don't want. It may not be a crystal clear image, but it is still images in your mind. Instead of defaulting to disempowering visualizations, which are obviously not going to get us to where we want to be, we want to become intentional about our visualization. Sometimes that is going to be little mini visualizations. One of the exercises that I like to teach, and I teach it inside of the academy, is when you identify something that you don't want to happen, AKA fear or worry, you recognize that's not going to help me. And so after you have released and let go of whatever that fearful energy is, which again are processes that I teach inside of the academy, go through the introduction to processes section inside of the Mindset Vault. You release and let that go. And now what do? You shift to, what would I prefer? How would I prefer to feel about this? How would I prefer that to play out? What would I prefer the end result to be? And so now you're using your mind strategically, intentionally, deliberately, and you're refocusing instead of defaulting to the fear, the worry, the concern, the doubt, the whatever the negative thing was. Now, when you ask yourself those questions, how would I prefer this to go? How would I prefer that person to respond to me? How would I prefer to feel when I make that phone call? Well, now your subconscious mind is going to give you some imagery in whatever form that is for you of a scenario that you would much prefer to experience. That is just a mini, little micro way of using visualization to your advantage. But what I want to really hone in on in this lesson is the more classic type of visualization exercise. Now, in the academy, in the Mindset Vault, there are so many different hypnosis audios on all sorts of things, including some that are a bit more general, like manifesting your dream life, right? There you can plug in your answers, right? Your goals, right? Your answer to the question of, what do I desire? What are my truest heart's desire? But then there are also some specific ones where we hone in on more specific things, like being more confident or being a confident speaker, right? And so utilize those tools. But here's the thing, the visualization, this exercise, we want this to become a daily practice. So if you feel more confident in your ability to commit to this by just simply doing your own independent visualization exercise, then that's actually what I'm going to encourage you to do. You can still use those other resources if and when you feel inspired. But the key here is, just like writing down the goals, is finding what is best for you. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Consistency is one of the greatest success principles because it's reinforcing, it's reprogramming, it's keeping us focused on the right things. Okay, so then let's do a little visualization exercise, remembering that you don't have to see with absolute crystal clear images in your mind. Trust your own process, okay? Whatever imagining is for you, do that. Whatever remembering, right? Remembering is a form of visualization, but use this to your advantage, meaning you don't have to remember things from the past that you don't want to create more of. Use that same mental faculty and remember yourself in the present moment, achieving your goals, having your goals, okay? So now, couple of things that we're going to go through. And I teach this also in the self-hypnosis course, which is also inside of the Mindset Vault. But I'm going to give you a short version here. We want to use some type of process that will enter us into that ideal state for visualization as quickly as possible. So if you haven't been very good at meditating in the past, or you haven't been the type of person who can sit down and relax and listen to a guided hypnosis audio, then you're going to like this, because what we're doing here is we're able to quickly create the ideal brain wave state for going into a quick visualization exercise. Now, you, of course, can stay in your visualization for as long as you want. The key here is not even necessarily how long you're in the visualization, but can you get yourself into a feeling state where it clicks? It feels like I feel my full resonance with this desire, with this reality that I am intentionally creating for myself. So we are talking about prosperity, and prosperity, like we said, can come in many forms. And obviously prosperity comes in the form of money. So as we go through this little exercise where I'm introducing you to this process to go into this ideal brainwave state for your visualization exercise, let's use the subject of money. Lots of abundant, prosperous money. So make sure you are seated in a comfortable position. Hopefully, you are in a quiet, undisturbed place. In fact, my ringer went off before, so I'm going to shut this off. Okay, so what we want to do is induce an alpha brainwave state. All you need to know about this is your normal waking state is beta brainwave. Now, I'm not going to go into this in depth. This is going to be very, very high level, okay? When you go into a deep state of relaxation or meditation or self-hypnosis, you are slowing down the brain waves and you enter into an alpha state. Now, you may go deeper, you may go into theta, which is always fun, right? And a great place to create from. But our ultimate goal is to, with intention, get us at very least into that nice, relaxed alpha brainwave state. Doesn't feel necessarily like anything more than just a deep, wonderful state of relaxation. Now, if you go deeper, that's good too. You will come out naturally. Don't worry, you won't get stuck, okay? When we want to enter into the alpha state, a great technique for this is, with the eyes closed, you're going to roll your eyes up as though you're looking above eye level. And you're going to hold your eyes in that position for about a minute or two. And your eyes will naturally start to relax as your body starts to naturally relax. This physical motion here of our eyes is going to actually affect your brainwaves. It's going to start to slow them down. Now, we don't want to just do that. We want to really help the process along. So what we do then is you close your eyes, and sometimes I recommend you drop your head down a little bit, okay? But you do whatever's comfortable for you as far as the position of your head is concerned. I like to just feel like I'm dropping the mind, releasing the mental chatter, and now entering into a controlled state of mind. Okay. And so as I am in this position with my eyes rolled up, eyelids are closed, looking as though I'm looking up above eye level, I now bring my awareness into my body and I am aware, I'm very consciously aware of my breathing. And you take a couple of very nice, deep, intentional cleansing breaths that starts to regulate the nervous system, starts to slow down the mind even more. We become more calm, we become more centered, we become more present. And then you're going to notice that you just become an observer of your breathing, meaning it's no longer about taking necessarily deep intentional breaths. It becomes observing the breathing. And when you've done this for a minute or two, you are going to feel more relaxed. Now you've entered this more ideal state for doing your visualization exercise. So what do you visualize? Okay. Now, you have a list of clearly articulated goals. So when you go into your visualization, now you're actually going to imagine that you have those goals. Imagine, what do I feel like? What do I see through my eyes? What do I hear? What are people saying to me? What am I having conversations with people about? What am I witnessing in my physical reality that is the absolute evidence of me having my desires? Now, obviously, that can come in a lot of different forms for each of you. It's going to be a very individual thing. But this really is the key here. And so each day when you take a few minutes to do your visualization exercise, which may fall perfectly right after you've written your goals for the day, because now it's fresh in your mind and you already have that vibration activated, you are going to allow yourself to just see where your mind, where your heart is guiding you. You might visualize the same things each day. Let me give you an example. So when I manifest a new home, I oftentimes will, based on where I'm at, right? Remember, we talked about the vagueness. If it's in the beginning stages, then I just am reaching for the feeling. How do I feel laying in my bed at night in my new home? I don't know what the new home looks like. I don't know where it is. I just know how I want to feel and how I'll feel. How I'll feel as I'm laying there, and I can visualize, I can imagine, I can picture, I can pretend the sensation of the blankets over me and the comfort of the mattress underneath me and the comfort of my pillow as I'm imagining myself feeling so grateful for this beautiful home that I absolutely love. And then as more details fill in, like we've talked about in the previous training, maybe I've been looking at homes and now I know where I want to be or which home might be the right one. And so then my visualization shifts a little bit. It becomes a little bit more detailed, a little bit more specific. Maybe I see myself in a different area of the home doing something else. I see myself decorating the new home. I see myself 5 years later still loving the home. Okay. And that's why I want to just make the point here. Let your heart guide you, but make sure that you are utilizing your list of your goals and your desires to get you pointed in the right direction for your visualization exercise. So, a couple of things to recap, okay? Your daily activities are going to include writing down your goals at least once per day. Smile when you're doing it. Visualize, imagine it with your eyes open, right? How good it's going to feel when you have that. Then every day, you're going to spend a little bit of time, maybe just a few minutes, maybe a little bit longer, whatever is right for you. But every day, you are going to spend some time visualizing yourself having the prosperity that you want. Having the home or the cars, the amount of money that you want in the bank, the type of experiences you want to have in your business, that you are going to spend time each day on those activities. And of course, there's nothing wrong with doing it more than once each day. So what I'm going to encourage you to do now is, if you want some additional assistance with this visualization process, go into the Mindset Vault and watch the training videos in the self-hypnosis course. Okay. That is going to take you into a little bit deeper understanding. Now, you don't have to. If this is enough for you, or if you're already pretty comfortable visualizing, then really it's just about setting the intention. And just like we talked about in the first training, find time that you can commit to. Consistency, 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 your key to success. We are going to wrap up this video training here. Remember to join the weekly calls, and remember to reach out if you need any support. And until next time, we will see you in another video.